I can't find now my papers. Would you kindly introduce yourself?
I will. Hi, thanks for being here. My name is Stephanie Rearick, and I'm here from Madison, Wisconsin in the United States, which we affectionately refer to as the belly of the beast. And my talk today is called Becoming Human, Superversive Strategies in the Face of Fascism and Ecocide. And I guess what my main point is time for us to get serious. So I'm here representing a new form of networked cooperative that we have begun called Mutual Aid Networks. And I'm gonna give you a little bit of background. Obviously we have a short amount of time, so I want you to understand roughly enough the mechanics of this, enough to see that you think that this is possible, feasible, something that could happen in your community and around the world, and I also want you to see how it could be applied. So I'm just gonna ask you to interrupt with clarifying questions if you need to, and then we'll have our 10 minutes of discussion at the end. So who here is already really pretty familiar with time banking? Does everyone here know how time banking works? Anyone not? Who here is familiar with savings pools, where people pool their money and give out interest-free loans or grants to one another? Okay, great. And other kinds of mutual credit. All right, so my background is I've been a local business owner, small local coffee house since 1995. Used to work for Greenpeace Environmental Organization. I do independent, original, unpopular music, and have also been really active in social justice issues, especially the mass incarceration in the United States, and realized a long time ago that our economy was driving all of these things exactly the wrong direction, and that's why I got involved in economic work. So in 1995, when we started the local business, we helped start a local currency, Madison Hours, based on the Ithaca Hours model. I will now recommend to everyone who will listen, don't ever do a currency like that. In 2004, then I went on and founded the Dane County Time Bank, which I'll tell you more about, and that's still thriving. And then the evolution of aiming to connect things that were good about Madison Hours with things that work about time banking and then expand on all of it. We're aiming to create an engine that can really completely change the dynamics of our global economy. So who here is interested in this partly because you see a need for major system change in the world? Who thinks that we have ecological crises facing us that require a major revamp of our economy? Who thinks we can do that by having more vibrant main streets only? So let's get serious. All right, so here is a bit of the mechanics, and I'm just gonna show you this little video we made for a crowdfunding campaign, just because I feel like it explains this quickly and easily.
Tired of doing the same old job day after day, doing this, when you'd rather be doing this? How would you like to do what you like to do? Well, now you can. Introducing Mutual Aid Networks, or the new The Man.
The new The Man values everyone in all kinds of work. Women's work, too. Here's how it works. We come together as a cooperative or mutual aid network around a common goal. Food security, clean energy, community justice, creative projects. We support each other in a network of mutual credit, and when we need things, we turn first to sharing, making and using things like maker spaces and tool libraries, then time banking, where we exchange time credits for abundant and necessary things like care, creativity, or community work, price-based mutual credit for local business, and savings pools for when we need money and can tap into a collectively managed pool of it. Then we add in the processes to make it all work, building the skills we need to come together, identify work that needs done, and make it happen. Learning how to apply our resource sharing tools effectively to our lives and our projects. Relearning how to figure out what we really want to do with our time, and then learning how to share our money and manage it well. We connect lots of individual man projects, large and small, in a network of mutual aid. The main man. Eventually networking our networks into an economy that works for all of us. The 100%.
opportunity to build their skills to their maximum capabilities and then apply them to making their communities whole and beautiful.
Let's find out! Join us! Launching now around the world. Give a little money to make a lot happen.
All right, anyone have any clarifying questions about any piece of this before I go on? Okay. So, as I mentioned, I started this journey, well, a longer time ago with Madison Hours, but more in earnest with the Dane County Time Bank. And Dane County Time Bank started in 2005, and one of my key goals with time banking was to be able to use it to address the problems of mass incarceration in my country and in my city and state. So I live in Madison, Wisconsin, which is consistently ranked one of the top places in the country to live and raise children and do all kinds of things. And it's one of the very bottom places in the country to raise black children. We have the biggest racial disparity in the prison system in the country, and in a country that imprisons more people than any other country. And when I learned about time banking, so the time banking, not everyone put their hand up. I'm going to describe very quickly what time banking is it's a system of mutual credit where we join in a network of individuals, businesses, organizations, however you choose to define it. We extend credit to each other for our time. Every hour one person spends helping another member, you get an hour worth of credit in your account, and that's good for help from any other member. Some of the things that are very beautiful about it are because it's not connected to money, it's not connected to price, everyone's time is valued equally. It really changes how people interact with each other and how people perceive their own value and value of others. And in contrast to other forms of currency that I've worked with, and I have a lot of experience with other forms of currency, people are much freer to use time credits for social purposes, for companionship. And a lot of times people in the currency community are dismissive of that. I used to be dismissive of that, but now I realize that's the number one gap we have in our current late capitalist society. And time banking, because it's very good at catalyzing, valuing, and rewarding things that are infinitely abundant, like care, creativity, civic engagement, community building, it's really good for filling that huge gap in our market economy where all of these essential functions and abundant functions are completely undervalued and have built on exploited labor. So when we started the time bank, we had learned that in Washington, D.C., there was a time dollar youth court where young people who were getting in trouble with the law could go to a jury of their peers. They could then serve on the jury and earn time bank hours for their time, eventually earning a computer for their service, but really building more social ties and more peer accountability among young people. So when we started the Dane County Time Bank, we knew that we wanted to do something like that. And we also knew that we could really expand on that model because unlike that Washington, D.C. peer court we were modeling on, we were gonna be connected with a whole community-wide time bank where people would be invited in to throw in their time and talents and resources in order to sort of form the resource base, sort of kind of be the funding pool to do this project. So we started our time bank, and after 1 year, we had 300 and some members and enough variety of time and talents and people who are willing to jump in that we were able to start a youth court in our city. And what happens, we started really tiny and now it's big, and I'll try to describe that very quickly, that progression. But we formed a lot of relationships with people in our law enforcement community, and got a police officer to agree to, instead of issuing a ticket to a young person, which is normally requires them to pay a fine and appear in court, he would instead give them the option to come to a jury of their peers. They could talk with young people who they could relate to, and then they would have an agreement that they had to abide by where they would do something to make up for any harm that was caused. They do something to make up for problems that are contributing to the trouble they're getting into. For example, they might have to take nonviolent conflict resolution classes. And they get plugged into things that appeal to their strengths and interests. So you can start building up their social ties and their economic, educational, recreational opportunities. And the beauty of that being connected with the time bank is time bank members provide all those functions. The jurors earn hours. The respondents can stay in their activities and continue to earn hours or spend hours to participate in those activities. So someone got a community garden plot and learned how to garden. A number of young people have earned computers. People have gone to a center for dance movement therapy, taken drum lessons, learned how to be a massage therapist. And at the same time that it's giving this diversion option without requiring a lot of money for direct service because people are earning time bank hours, it's also reweaving the social fabric that gets at the root causes that keeps young people out of trouble. So we realized early on that there's tremendous power in time banking, but there are also a lot of systemic flaws in how time banking has been applied, and also it's not the only thing. It's good for, it doesn't address all aspects of the economy and isn't designed to. It addresses the things that are infinitely abundant, and that's wonderful. So we feel that's a really essential piece, but we've been looking for how it sits in a different kind of context that can make it thrive as part of something, again, that can redesign the entire economy. So we embarked about 6 years ago on a research and development project. And the questions are, first of all, how do we build an economy that creates and rewards abundance, but then realize we're not at all looking to help facilitate something that makes it easier for someone to make things out of finite resources and sell them and just make exchange easier. I think exchange for the sake of exchange isn't a worthwhile goal, and it's another form of capitalism. So another piece that we thought was an essential question to ask is in service to what? So we came up with a vision of how instead of making a time bank that can do one thing, making a savings pool that can do another thing, making a cooperative that's around an enterprise, we can integrate a lot